In this video, it's me and Fords. This can only end well.
Hubnut, sponsored by Lancaster Insurance.
Now, I get a pretty hard time for my dislike of Fords, which is amusing because I haven't actually got a dislike of Fords. There are just some Fords I don't really like all that much. One Ford I definitely do like is the Mk3 Cortina, because to my mind I think this is one of the most stylish cars Ford ever made. And we're here at Pete C's Cortina City, and it really is, with this pair, some remarkable contrast going on, and a chance to see the lowly spec with the single headlamps and the glamorous GXL with its sporty grille and quad lamps. And for my mind, these early Cortinas with the clear indicator lenses, just absolutely beautiful. And I mean, the shape is utterly fantastic. I love the way the hip line rises over the rear. I love the little row style wheels. I absolutely adore the rear lights. We got twin brake lights, upper and lower. As you can see, it's a lovely GXL, so you get this sporty trim across the back as well. You get the vinyl roof, you get the GXL sign. It's all good. Let's have a look inside, where it is absolutely beautiful. Fake wood abounds, but really nice stuff. Really nice seats as well. They look comfortable, are they? Oh yes. Let's pull the door handle. Look at that. It's magnificent stuff. And oddly, on the Cortinas, the Mk3s, the dashboard floats away from the driver, so it's the driving position is really weird. It feels really spacious. There's loads of room around your knees. Let's see, we've got the two stalks going on. Cruise, blimey. And rev counter, because it's a sporty GXL. Bank of extra dials down there as well. We've got some sour cherry drops. It's an automatic, classic T-bar lever. We've got a slightly less classic sat-nav, but practical, I guess. And yeah, what's in the glove box? He's locked his glove box. I don't believe it, but look, lovely face level ventilation. But yeah, I can't get over this wood. It's absolutely beautiful. I can't believe it was that fancy when these cars were new. Nice simple heater controls, up, down, hot, cold, and yeah, I guess that's the amount of fannage you want. Stubby little gear lever, armrest, a world of vinyl, perforated. Yeah, this is a classy motor vehicle. Far classier than my shoes. And if we look at, you know, all the switch gear down here, so there's your light switch, heated rear window, hazard lights. Oh, marvellous. Wiper over this side. So not all that good because I have to stretch to reach that. But nonetheless, impressive. Oh yes, I like this car a great deal. So let's have a look under the bonnet of Ruby, and we got the Ford Pinto engine, 2 litre form here. It's got a slightly warmer cam, so 109 brake horsepower. But yeah, all very simple, all very accessible, because Fords were very much designed to be simple to look after. Quite envious of all this space, so much. And you know, got servo brakes as well, and a little lamp to illuminate the area. Fomoco. Right, into drive. Oh yeah, this feels very nice. We'll say the ride is a little firm because Pete does like the car a bit low at the front, and I must concede the car looks absolutely superb like that. I am, as you well know, not one who's into car modifications, but these cars always did seem to sit a bit high, and you kind of put as much as a mint humbug in the boot and they start dragging their tails and looking most ungainly. So I fully approve of this modification. It is fully functional cruise control, and actually stolen from a Granada, and it's also got the torque converter gearbox. In fact, there are modifications all over. There are heated seats, there are switches hidden under here. It's fitted automated wipers and washers, and even a rain sensor, so you don't have to do anything. But the washer on a Cortina is down on the floor, so if I press it, and there go the wipers, although that blade's not very good. Oh, and another wash. So he's got a little computer controlling that, and we should then get a final wipe as well, maybe, to catch the dribbles. Bit of a triangle of doom going on. Might not be visible from your camera angle. No, we're not going to get the dribble wipe, that was it. But yeah, I mean, a very relaxing car to drive. Pete built this car to cover mileage, and yeah, I can imagine this is a really comfortable cruiser. Yeah, the ride is slightly compromised, but at least we're not scraping. The wood effect is somewhat improved over standard, but it's hydro dipped fake wood, and yeah, this is perhaps a bit brighter, and certainly looks a bit more polished than it would have been from the factory, but it's absolutely beautiful. But yeah, this is quite nerve-wracking. I'm driving around in Pete C's Pride and Joy, and he's in front, watching on the mirrors, feeling nervous, I imagine, because Ruby really is his top Cortina. Because from what I remember, the Cortina's got an independent rear, and independent front, of course, double wishbone suspension on the front, which is kind of what you want for road holding. I need to issue some corrections to this video. The rear axle is a live axle. It's multi-link, so yeah, I think that's why I was starting to think, oh, bleepy bleep, it's more complicated than it actually is. But very tight steering as well. And Fords of this era, one of their best selling points was the fact they were so simple to drive. You didn't need, you know, an advanced degree to get the best out of a Cortina. Very agricultural land here. Oh, it's getting a bit bumpy. We should get out onto some proper roads for some proper enjoyment shortly. But while we're pottering along, talk a bit about the history. Mk3 Cortina was launched in 1970, and yeah, unsurprisingly, the Cortina was the third generation of Cortina, a much larger car, which, you know, caught some companies out. I mean, the Morris Marina, the Hillman Hunter, suddenly they seem quite small compared to a Mk3 Cortina. And certainly, I mean, it's a very spacious car. There's plenty of room in here. I'd find it very comfortable in the rear as well. Oh, that's a bad bump. There we go. I think the 2-litre GXL was the range topper for a time, although later there was the 2000E, which was even more plush, and they're the ones that are completely sought after. Engines were a mixture of Kent overhead valve and Pinto overhead cam, I believe. 2-litre being the top engine. Indicators don't seem to want to flash. There we go. Get out on the dual carriageway and we can actually see what she's got. So I'm following Pete C at the moment. He's in that silver Mini with his mate Andy. He's trusted me entirely with the controls of Ruby, the Cortina. Oh, there she goes. So should we do the cruise control? There we go. She's cruising. Cruise control also locks up the torque converter, so it's a 50 mile an hour limit down here. We're doing 2,000 revs at 50. This is very relaxing indeed. And I can increase the speed. Oh no, that's wipers up there as well. Okay, I'm confused. I thought that was going to be a plus on the speed. And roundabout coming up, so I want to cancel the cruise. I just knocked that away. Cruise control has been deactivated. I wasn't expecting cruise control in this car, but it was fitted to the Granadas. I probably disconnected it a little too early. We're not yet at the roundabout, but here we go. And the suspension mods really come into their own now, because it's going to feel a lot more positive. Reasonably good brakes, don't need a shove. There is a servo, but 1970s servos were not the best. So as soon as we're moving, it's into second. And now we're into third. So if this was a standard car without the torque converter lockup, I think it would feel a bit high revving on the motorways. Again, automatic gearboxes weren't all that refined back in the 70s, but this one is particularly smooth. That feels like the torque converter's locked up anyway. What happens if I give it an absolute bootful? Yeah, quite vocal, isn't she? But quite a gruff engine though. I quite like that. And it's a hideously windy day. You might be able to hear the wind blowing around, but it's not moving the car around. She feels planted, safe and secure. One nugget I love about the Mark III, obviously the Mark III Cortina evolved into the Mark IV, but the estate kept on using the same body shell because Ford were the absolute masters of penny pinching. And the same thing happened with the Mark II Escort. If you look at the difference around the windscreen of the Mark I and the Mark II Escort, that change didn't make it to the Mark II Escort Estate or van. They kept using the Mark I body, albeit with a few of the styling tweaks from the Mark II, different grille, etc. But oh, this feels lovely. And of course, I've got a bit of space for my left foot to hang out because there's no clutch pedal. But now we're on a smoother road. The fact the front suspension is firmer is just not an issue really. It's still comfortable. Oh gosh, a Ford Probe. Nice. See, I do like Fords. Do a bit more fresh air. I'll just open my fresh air vents there. Lovely. Do like fresh air to the face. I'm not sure what's bleeping. He's got all sorts of tech in here, and it's right, but this is an MP3 player hidden in there. It's very subtle but very effective. There's a subwoofer under my seat, which is quite pleasurable, and yeah, it's just a really well thought out car. He's put so much into it. It's great. Oh, and I completely forgot to mention it's got power steering from a Mark V Cortina. So yeah, I mean, it's so nicely assisted and tight that I kind of didn't really notice. We're on a private road at the moment, by the way, so I can turn around and talk to you as much as I like. But we shall turn around because we're just going back and forth and getting some drone footage, which is new for me. Not done any drones, so it's really windy, so the drone is struggling somewhat, but this is kind of like when they do those drive shot by shots on television, but you end up driving lovely cars very slowly. Or when I do panning shots for magazines, I've driven some amazing cars, and I've driven those amazing cars very slowly because I'm going back and forth past a photographer. But yeah, I mean, certainly a very well-mannered car. It runs far better than a certain Rover. I'm assuming it doesn't normally get overtaken by pedestrians. I've jumped into the passenger seat, and Pete C is now driving his own car.
That's nice.
Yeah.
That's very nice.
Well, I was following you along ever so gently, thinking, what a lovely car for a nice gentle ride. But
Yeah.
Pete informs me it can actually go around bends quite well.
It's not bad. It's the spac's adjustable. They've got them set about halfway. It's a little low, the car. The springs have settled at the front and took me down. Maybe I might just bring it up another ½ inch, perhaps. But most times, with it being low down and the spac set halfway, it's very solid through the corners. The power steering's not overly light.
No, very nicely weighted.
I think so. That's down to that's the Mark V setup. The cam itself, the Kent cam, that gives you low end torque, which is good when you've got automatics.
Yeah, because I mean, it's a gearbox that wants to keep the revs low as well.
That's right.
This is a very nice combination.
It's the A4 Granada box, so you get the fourth gear and you get the torque converter lock.
Ah, yeah. So I initially thought it was a 3-speed, but then counted them.
Yeah.
I went, oh, hold on a minute, it's just changed gear again.
The D10s, I'm on the standard stick shifter that you get with it. Auto.
Oh yeah, so you've only got 2 and 1.
But you do get them. No, it'll detent between the 2 and the 3, so you actually get all the gears, which is, I didn't expect it to do that.
No.
It was quite handy.
So how long have you owned Ruby now?
This is it coming up to the 3 years perhaps now.
Right. And what's the story of Ruby? Was she nice when you picked her up, or?
It was it was a project.
Right.
It had been passed around a little while. It was a scrapyard project. It was a good shell that had been stripped a little bit, then put back together, and then couldn't really trace the history that far back. So really had a blank canvas, but it was a good body shell to do a project with, and I always wanted one in maize yellow. If I was going to restore a car, it's a nice colour. I always like to, normally if I do a car, get back to the history of it and keep it as it should be, but this one, there was no one to take it back to and say, look, I've restored your car. It was one of them where you had a blank canvas, which I thought was great. I'll build a car spec how I want for cruising, which is why I put all those extra features on it.
Yeah.
The idea was to drive to Italy and have all the mod cons but hidden away. So that's the story on it. Really, it was a good condition body shell with all the bits thrown in the back of it, and build what you want with this little lot. You know, you've got yourself a nice shell. It needed some work. It had a crash at the front. It needed an inner wing, and it needed sills and things, but not much. It was basically a good project. You know.
So is that all documented on your channel?
It is on Project
excellent.
Ruby's fully documented from day one. Actually, I think it's about 50 episodes on that series.
So there you go. If you've got some time to lose,
That's
YouTube
right.
is a wonderful place to do it.
That's right. I mean, YouTube. I don't watch the telly. I only watch YouTube.
I mean, Ruby's got some legs.
Yeah. So we'll go through these quite nice. Don't worry, we're safe. You're safe.
Yeah. It's mostly just to stop myself falling off the vinyl seat. Vinyl's not forgiving in bends. She's a proper Jekyll and Hyde, isn't she?
Yeah, it's just a 2 litre. You know.
You just put her around nice and gently.
Well, they say there's no body roll.
Yes, I wouldn't want to drive this car like this because it's not my car. Wow.
That's about it. That's all you get.
Yeah, that's very good.
I grew up on these roads, so I do know those double S bends there.
So here's a question.
Yeah.
Why Mark III Cortinas?
I think my brother had one, and that was the car I used to sort of see your big brother doing, and going out for the, when he was 17, and off he went with all his mates, and I'd get a lift off him. And I think the style, just the shape, the Coke bottle shape always did it for me.
Yeah,
And
it is, to my mind, one of the most stylish cars Ford has ever made.
it's just, I do like the Capri Classic as well. That's a lot older, of course, but this Coke bottle style, like a little mini American car, and it's one of those I just always liked it. And so we've always had one in the family. So it's happy memories, that kind of thing, the usual stuff, you know, the happy memories stuff. And
Yeah.
Dad had the Mark 4s and 5s, and I've always had Cortinas in the family. I just like these cars. I like driving them.
How many have you got?
Green one, Swampy, this one. Have I got another one? Oh, Bramble 4, TC 5 with
Blimey.
TC.
Well, thank you very much. It's been a lovely day. It's a long time since I've driven a Mark III Cortina. And,
Yeah, I think you
this
drove
was
it well.
this was definitely a good one. So yeah, thank you very much.
Okay.
So there we go. That was a very nice Ford, even if I do say so myself. Gorgeous Mark III Cortina 2000 GXL, owned by Pete C. So go and check out Cortina City. You can see how he's getting on with Project Bramble. You can see some of his other projects as well. But yeah, a marvellous experience, a very lovely car. So I shall say thank you very much for watching. Don't forget to subscribe before you go. Don't forget the Hubnut store at hubnut.org. And I shall see you in a future video. Farewell.